Inside the table. So this is where things are already gotten in New York. Mondami's been in office since January. It's not even March. And we have our heroes, our first responders, our champions. The only people in New York City that you can call that might be the difference between life and death. It's funny, you got these people in the crowd walking behind a bunch of black people who are throwing snowballs at the police. But when those same black people turn around and mug you and beat you and rob you and pull guns on you, who are you going to call? See, what this is, it's not just degradation, it's demoralization. They're not just defunding the police. They're creating a rift. These are our public safety officers. There's no one else you're going to be able to call. This is how you get to a scenario like the movie Escape from New York. You ever watch those dystopian movies? Ever wonder what happened to the police? Well, they're still there, but there's just no reason for them to show up. The public, providing safety for the public, once the public turns on you like this and they disrespect your profession and they demoralize you and minimize the fact that you're working a job where your main job is to protect them, and they are so fucking stupid that they will risk turning against you to be a part of a mob, the police are just not going to start showing up anymore. When there's a 5 to 10 minute span, when someone broke into your house before they can find you hiding in a closet, remember how they used to have emergency services? Depending on the sound of your voice over the phone in the neighborhood you live in, no one's coming anymore. See, these officers, the reason they're walking away like this with their heads down and they're just basically being ran off the scene, they're armed, but they can't use their weapons and they can't defend themselves because if they do, the mob is going to call them racist. Then their DEI hired chief and captain are going to call them in for a board meeting, internal affairs, and that $160,000 a year cushy police job, they're going to lose it just for defending themselves and arresting someone who's black, or arresting someone who may be a minority, or maybe someone who's gay. With this, and this is all by Mondami's doing. This is why I told people New York's going to be a different place pretty soon. Feminism is going to be a thing of the past. The women who are not in a position to leave the city are going to be begging for a man's kitchen to become a part of, because there will be no other protection for her. See, nowadays, men and women don't even need to live together anymore because women don't feel like they need men. Because you used to just be able to call the police for the last 30 years and boom, a man shows up to protect you with the gun. But you have to wait for him to get there. What happens when the men with guns no longer show up and you lose your false sense of security? These officers are thinking about their bank accounts, are thinking about their rent, their mortgage, their responsibilities, and that's why they are allowing this to happen. But the rest of the force is going to see this video. Officers in other jurisdictions around the country are going to see this video. They're not blind. We can all see what the makeup of the crowd looks like. We all know who the enemy is. Who is the enemy of the police? Who are the enemy of the people? Who's 60% of all the violent crimes? And you have the nerve to be marching behind the same people that are likely going to be the ones responsible for your death in the next couple of months. You're a fucking idiot. This is just, it's disturbing. You know, I'll be honest, I wasn't always pro-police. I wasn't always pro-American. But I remember back when the BLM, they had their George Floyd riot, and it marched in front of my expensive penthouse loft in downtown LA. And here I am, I call myself walking out and wanting to join in the march. But it was a bunch of gays, a bunch of blacks, and people who don't live in my neighborhood in downtown. And I remember they had a sign that said, "Eat the rich." And then I seen someone with a car that was a smaller version of mine, and they chased it because they wanted to destroy the windows and burn the car. And they were saying that guy who drives that car is rich. But I live in the big expensive high rise right here. I'm the one with the cars. And wait, am I the rich? It was never about public safety. It was never about George Floyd. This was just another excuse to go after people that you're jealous of and that you envy. So we were all misled and misguided. I've since course corrected, but a lot of other people still held out faith. And I remember every chance people got, they would break into the shops of friends of mine that were closed due to the lockdown, and they would just set them on fire and steal a bunch of stuff. And they would laugh because they took joy in knowing that the people who once owned these businesses lost everything, and now we're just poor, pathetic pieces of shit just like them. That's where that equity comes in. They wanted everyone to be equally poor and equally pathetic just like them. See, a lot of us who come to the United States, we understand what freedom is. So we feel we have a responsibility to our family, so we want to work. We look at this country differently than others. We want to be independent. We want to be productive. We want to work harder or smarter than others. But there are those who, they envy you. And they make up a million excuses for why they're not doing anything. But all they know is that they want to see you lose it all. And they hope you get killed. And anything they can do because they have a complex about themselves. They see you, then they go look in the mirror and they swear that you're doing something to them, or it's because of you or people like you that they don't have anything. You're hoarding the wealth. You're a part of this percentage or that. It's just excuses. They want to get rid of the police so that there's no one there to protect you. Who are you? Well, you're the people they consider the rich. You're the people that have material items that they envy and are jealous of. You're the reason why they're wondering why you have things that they don't. And this is a good way for them to have access to you and your children, is by getting rid of the one line of defense that you might have in these cities. This is disturbing. This is so embarrassing and humiliating. But for who? For the city, or more so for the police? But the people should be ashamed and embarrassed. I hate to say that they voted for this, because the people who voted for Mandami, they're not even Americans. A lot of the people that voted for him are foreigners who live in New York now. This is an organized takeover. They are literally destroying law enforcement, and everything, or a complete foundation is being removed brick by brick strategically. There's no leadership that's coming out and speaking out against this. The leadership is against law enforcement. Mandami is a plant. This is literally a coordinated destruction of the city. I'm just wondering which state is next. I mean, you got a DEI hire, Brandon Johnson in Chicago. That's already being destroyed. Even the local team, even the stadium is gone now. They're moving to Indiana. Los Angeles, Karen Bass. And now that I'm thinking about it, all of these cities where they have mayors or governors that are blacks or somebody who's ethnic, they're all failing. All of them are being destroyed, literally being turned to rubble in their own footprint. But I'm not supposed to notice that all these blacks or ethnic people who have their ulterior motives, since they hate this country and what it stands for, they consider the country racist and oppressive, but they won't leave. And then they take over, and then corruption follows. Now we have an open communist now in charge of running the city, and they're allowing criminals to embarrass and humiliate our champions. The only line of defense the people in the city have against criminals. They're letting them become humiliated and discouraged, and to the point where the cops are probably going to laugh amongst themselves when those citizens are getting killed at night. They're not going to be in any hurry to show up to save anybody. You know, once upon a time when the police heard gunshots, they would run towards them. Now, if I was in New York City, I wouldn't even be mad if I saw the police walk the other way and then let the situation sort itself out. And then they show up when it's all safe and all clear. That way, they're not risking their life and they're not risking their job, because what if the person who's doing all the shooting is black? You're not allowed to arrest blacks anymore. You're not allowed to handcuff them. You're not allowed to even question them. This is all set up by design. They've weaponized the black community. They've weaponized the word racism, and it means nothing. Everything is just to mentally disarm you so that you are vulnerable, so that you can be the next victim. I just can't believe that people are allowed now to openly go after and attack the police and embarrass them like that. And they want to keep their good jobs so they can do nothing about it. You know, the good cops left back during the mandate, the vaccine mandates. A lot of the conservative cops, the patriots, the white ones, they were like, my Constitution protects my bodily autonomy. I'm not letting you inject me with some bullshit. But you know what cops took the injections and stayed? The corrupt ones who just wanted the money, the bad cops. The cops who are right now being embarrassed and they're empathetic to the people who are embarrassing them. They're empathetic to the criminals. We're losing our cities. We're losing our country. And unfortunately, we only have one Trump in office. We need more. You know, for someone like me to have to get online and make videos like this where I have to defend the police, me, it seems like I'm going to have to also defend the country because everyone's going to be too timid and too afraid of getting canceled or getting shamed to do it. Someone has to step up. And yes, the private sector, I love my private life. But how much, it won't be soon before long before the rest of what's happening in the country spills over into my world. And now my private life is being affected by the fact that I did not act sooner to try to save and then try to keep together the last that we have here in this country. We're just losing everything and we're burying our heads in the sand and we're just letting it be taken away from us bit by bit. We have to do something. Yes, it's in another city, but tomorrow it's in your city. And then when someone's breaking into your house, who are you going to call? We need our champions. Those are our warriors. Those are our heroes. And we're allowing a mob of criminals to disrespect them. And they have a piece of shit new mayor who's not even a leader to come out and denounce this and call for these people to be tracked and arrested. That was way more violent than January 6th was. But they're allowed to go out there and humiliate the NYPD. We're going to have to do more. We're going to have to get more involved. We can't just leave it up to the criminals and the police and we just sit on the sideline. We're going to have to pick sides. I don't know where else we're going to go if we lose the United States. A lot of us were lucky. We had the U.S. to come to when our countries fell. If we let the United States fall, where do we go? Am I going to let a bunch of blacks and gays burn down the greatest country on earth and I just stand by on the sideline because I care about what a bunch of fucking criminals think about me? No, I don't. Yeah, for now we talk, we discuss, and we try to figure out ways to mitigate the damage. But we're going to eventually have to get more involved, all of us. The blacks and gays are now running for student boards and all these different positions in local governments. People are running for president of school boards. They don't even have kids, but they're there to indoctrinate and pervert your kids. And the rest of us are just living our regular lives. We're going to work and paying bills, thinking that we're in Kansas still. Because we have a mental normalcy bias. We don't realize that everything's changed around us. And it's changing faster than we can keep up with. I wish that just sitting on the internet was enough to keep you informed. But I make videos every single day and I'm still having to catch up because there's so much happening all at once. I don't have time to even watch movies anymore or watch TV shows where I can just blank out. There's too much happening too fast and you don't want to be caught with your pants around your ankles and you're in a bad situation. You're going to need to know how to move when you have to, where not to go. First things first, though, we need our law enforcement the same way we need our military. We can't allow this to keep happening. This is, yes, you want to say New York did this to himself, but we have to learn from their mistakes. We were going to have to get more involved. This is just, it's heartbreaking to see what those police officers are going through, but that just shows you how bad things are that I have to come out and defend the police, me of all people. We're going to have to do more. We're going to have to get more involved. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with another topic. Remember, it's America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.